Occupy Defiance. The powers are with us. We have gorgeous weather. What more can we ask for? This is the beginning of the wave that will take over this country. We have to educate these people so they know what the truth really is. I'm Dolores Whitman. I'm from Bryan, Ohio. I'm retired. I was a children's librarian. I am just inching up to my 70th birthday, and I have learned a few things in my life. Did you know that all the mainstream media are owned by 6 multinational corporations? Yes. General Electric, Walt Disney, News Corp, Time Warner, Viacom, CBS. Their holdings range across TV, radio, publishing, the film industry, and the internet. Consequently, the public is receiving a picture of the world created by these few mega corporations. And what they do is repeat the same mantra over and over again. The deficit is out of sight. Social Security and Medicare are going broke. Government is the problem. All they have to do is repeat this over and over again, and we begin to believe it.
Go away.
Right. I turned to the internet years ago to find out what is going on. It started with alternate.org and truthout.org. From these, I was led to many others, which are listed on the handouts I have available for those who are interested. Since the beginning of the year, I have discovered 2 TV sources that are not owned by any corporation: Free Speech TV and Link TV. These stations are available on DirecTV and Dish Network, as well as on the internet. They are funded by donations from their viewers. Because they are not under the control of corporate conglomerates, they can tell the whole story. There are many hard-hitting, informative programs available on these networks, including Democracy Now!
Yeah!
And the Tom Hartman program.
Free Speech TV!
Free Speech TV, and their documentaries are fantastic. I have also for many years been reading books, lots of them, that explain what is going on. As a result of all this, I have learned many things. And what I have learned helps me to understand the frustration exemplified by the thousands and perhaps millions who are participating in Occupy movements all across this country. The primary piece of information is that the American dream is now a nightmare for 99% of us.
Yeah!
Statistics are released from different sources almost every week, describing the growing disparity between the super rich and the rest of us. The Congressional Budget Office just released a report called Trends in the Distribution of Household Income between 1979 and 2007. This report reveals what we have come to experience over the last 28 years. People in the bottom 20% of real after-tax income saw a growth of 18%. Those in the next 3 percentiles above that saw a growth of 40%. Those in the 20% below the super rich, their wealth grew to by 65%. But that top 1% grew 275%. 1%! 275% growth over 28 years. How did this happen? Many things caused it. We lowered taxes on the wealthy. Ronald Reagan said, "A rising tide lifts all boats."
Boo.
Is yours underwater right now? Many are. We increased productivity. We worked hard, but wages were kept stagnant because we undercut the power of unions. We worshipped before the idols free trade, globalization, closing companies and sending jobs overseas. Families could no longer survive on the earnings of one wage earner. Credit cards were in our mail weekly as we tried desperately to have the lifestyle depicted in the American dream. And after all, consumerism became the lifeblood of our economy. Meanwhile, our elected representatives owed their allegiance to the money received from their wealthy supporters. They began doing their bidding, not ours. What resulted was deregulation of the financial industry, deregulating the controls on oil drilling and coal mining. Everyone was sold a bill of goods about the ownership society, which resulted in a housing boom like nothing ever seen before. And then it crashed, taking with it not only the U.S. economy, but the world economy as well. And when it crashed, who went down with it? Not the big money that caused it. No, that big money had to be bailed out by the money of the taxpayer. And the taxpayer is being held over the chopping block again as we are faced with threats to cut everything. Of course, Social Security and Medicare are always at the top of the list because of the insurance industry, which wants to get its hands on that money. Homeowners who were involved in bad mortgages, as well as their neighbors who see their home values plunging, are all suffering. Students who completed their college education can't find jobs and are still saddled with crippling tuition debts they can't repay. Veterans returning from war can't find jobs or get the medical and psychological care they need. Also on the chopping block is the infrastructure we the people created over the decades. I'm talking about our highways, our schools, our prisons. They are being privatized to fatten the wallets of the big money that now has control over our government. Listen up. The rallying cry by the right has been, get big government off our backs, right? Wait. Has that been the rallying cry of the right? Get big government off our backs?
No.
Yes, it has.
Yes.
We need to change that to get corporate government off our backs.
Yeah.
Applause is called for. Applause is definitely called for. Okay. With all this happening, what is Congress doing? They can't agree on anything. Just say no seems to be their slogan. Hold off until the next election when their powerful moneyed friends will vote them back in with their dollars. And the mainstream media just stands back and watches the piddling day-to-day circus that is Washington, D.C. They repeat, he said, she said, that nonsense, thereby giving it greater credibility. They aren't doing the in-depth investigating to get at the truth because they are owned by the big corporations who now control our government. It is time we wake up and figure it out for ourselves. I have just given a brief, superficial overview of what happened. I urge you to do your own research. Look up some of the sources I have mentioned and included. I have handouts. They're in the car. I didn't bring them. I'll bring them. As you learn and evaluate, however, I want to end by telling you the two most important things that I've learned we need to do right now. The first is we must pass a constitutional amendment that corporations are not people and that money is not speech. The Supreme Court decision in Citizens United, which gave corporations the status of people who can use their money to influence political discourse, must be overturned. Go to democracyisforpeople.org, democracyisforpeople.org to learn the details. The second thing we need to do is take back our whole election process. The Fair Elections Now Act has been introduced in both houses of Congress, but of course, like all worthwhile activities, it is not going anywhere. It won't until we move it. This is another important step in taking back our election process. It is important that we, the people, regain control of our government. Go to fairelectionsnow.org, Fair Elections Now, and become involved. With that, I leave you. And I tell you how proud I am to be part of a group of people who want to make the changes we need. And I just realized I took the wrong speech from my desktop. I added an ending this morning, and somehow I don't have that ending.
Wing it!
Huh?
Wing it!
I'm going to wing it because it was a very important point that we have got to educate our countrymen. The key point of this is the mainstream media is totally, forget it. They are part of the problem, and if we listen to them, we go down. We have got to go to alternative news sources. There's two, as I said, the only way I knew that the mainstream media was a pile of, what does, that's it. Rachel Maddow has a term, and I can't remember right now what it is, but it's beautiful. Anyway, the way I found out was I began going to alternate.org, and then shortly after that to truthout.org. And writers contribute to those media, to those websites, who are extremely knowledgeable, who get their information right from the source. They know what's happening, and when you read them, you get led to their web pages, and you get a wide variety of information. That's how I knew that when these idiots are talking on TV, it's a lot of malarkey, and you've got to find it out for yourself. You've got to learn. You've got to learn and educate the rest of the people. When the snow flies, we won't be able to be here. How can we have a learning mechanism on the web between us all? We can use the sites that are there. Become informed. Go to our Facebook page. Keep in contact with one another. Be sure you learn, because if we are not an educated and an informed citizenry, we will be totally destroyed. I thank you for your time. I appreciate your effort. God bless whatever we are.
America!
America! That's right, we are America. Yay, come on!
Thank you.